The South Today bulletin, proudly brought to you in association with MoleMap, the skin cancer detection specialists.
Tonight on the South Today, an icy start this morning causes crashes on Dunedin roads and sees snow settling on Sumner beach. New traffic lights aim to improve road safety at a high-risk intersection near Queenstown. And arguably Christchurch's most loved radio station returns to the airwaves decades after being switched off. Kia ora, good evening. I'm Hannah Wilkins. Dunedin residents were treated to a somewhat unexpected heavy wintry blast this morning. The icy start to the day caused havoc on many slippery Dunedin roads, causing a number of vehicle crashes and road closures across the city.
Despite forecasts of snow for a number of days in Dunedin, many residents were still surprised to wake up to an icy blast on Thursday morning. The overnight fall quickly froze, causing black ice and forcing a number of roads around the city to be closed. Emergency services were kept busy with a flurry of accidents on Dunedin's slippery streets. Upper Stewart Street, one of the worst affected, along with parts of Mornington. The black ice caused a run of vehicles to lose control, crashing or being abandoned near the top of the steep street. The road was closed at around 7 this morning, reopening to traffic about 2 hours later. Younger residents were treated to a sleep-in, with all schools and kindergartens in the city having late starts. Many bus services in the hill suburbs were also cancelled or delayed. And the icy conditions also causing issues at Dunedin Airport. 4 flights to and from Auckland had to be cancelled, with other services also delayed. In Dunedin, the South Today.
The usual winter cold spots like central and inland Otago largely escaped the latest wintry blast, but there were some snow flurries further north in Canterbury, including a rare settling in the region's beach suburbs.
Sumner's sandy beach, given a light coat of snow on Thursday morning. Residents in the greater Christchurch area woke up to a dusting of snow, the first in the city this year, as a polar blast made its way up the country. There was only a light snowfall in the central city, but heavier snow flurries hit Littleton and the beach in Sumner. The Port Hills and Banks Peninsula also experienced heavier snowfalls, forcing temporary closures on both Dyers and Summit roads. Banks Peninsula's State Highway 75 remained closed due to snow on Thursday afternoon between Little River and Devotional. The Met Service is expecting the cold spell to continue on Friday, with temperatures forecast to fall as low as -3 degrees overnight in the city. In Christchurch, the South Today.
Queenstown motorists should feel a lot safer welcoming in new traffic lights in an area Whakakotahi deems as high risk.
New traffic lights at Remarkables Park in Frankton are set to be switched on as early as Monday, after weeks of being kept under wraps. The traffic lights are installed on Hawthorne Drive, at the intersections of Red Oaks Drive and Cherry Blossom Avenue. The whole project cost $1.8 million. Queenstown ratepayers and Whakakotahi NZTA each paying just under half, with the balance coming from Remarkables Park Limited. Whakakotahi's subsidy was a part of its Road to Zero program, which aims to reduce deaths and serious injuries on the roads. The location was deemed as high risk due to the area's explosive growth in recent years. Large volumes of traffic travel along Hawthorne Drive each day, but the Queenstown Lakes District Council is confident the new lights will significantly improve traffic flow and public safety. In Queenstown, the South Today.
The Otago Regional Council is continuing to debate the merits of free bus services in Dunedin, with questions remaining over how it'll be paid for. A free fees scheme was one of many options considered by the Regional Council at its Public and Active Transport Committee meeting this weekend. A report identified a target of having 8% of residents using bus services to get to work by 2030. That's around double current figures. It was suggested $2 fares weren't likely to encourage this move, with claims that lower fares showed more positive results. But councillors noted free bus services would need significant ratepayer funding, with a forecast shortfall of $3.6 million a year. The Regional Council believes Whakakotahi NZTA is unlikely to offer to cover the extra funding. A Queenstown primary school that's been around for nearly a century and a half is looking back on the generations that have passed through their gates. St Joseph's Primary School has turned 140, marking the big occasion with a customised sweet treat.
3 generations coming together for a special cake as St Joseph's Primary School in Queenstown celebrated its 140th birthday on Tuesday. The Catholic school was opened in the resort town in 1883 by the Dominican sisters. Staff and students helping celebrate the school being open on the same location for all that time, with a custom cake sporting the school emblem. Current Principal Ellen Grant says it's amazing they've reached such a huge milestone, with many generations of families coming through the same school.
Pretty amazing, pretty special. 140 years is a massive milestone. Very long time to be established in Queenstown providing Catholic education.
The India family is one that's had a long history at the Catholic school. Multiple generations on both sides attended St Joseph's Primary, some later returning to teach the next generation.
My husband also is. He also went to St Joseph's, and so he had 4 older members of his family have been at St Joseph's before him.
Grant says the aim is to continue building on the school's renovations to help breathe new life into the site and to make sure St Joseph's Primary is still around in another 140 years. In Queenstown, the South Today.
A special media reunion is being held in Christchurch, with former announcers from Radio Avon getting together to celebrate 50 years since the station hit the airwaves. Radio Avon was the city's first private radio station and proved wildly popular, shaking up the establishment and forever changing the face of commercial radio.
A blast from the past regaining its voice. Christchurch listeners were taken on a nostalgic journey down memory lane as a popular radio station from the 70s and 80s returned to the airwaves.
1290 with Maury Shannon. How are you doing, eh? It's been a long time.
Former staff marked the 50th anniversary of Radio Avon's first broadcast by taking over community access radio station Plains FM on Saturday morning for a special one-off radio program.
Radio Avon was arguably the most successful radio station in New Zealand history, in fact, maybe even in the world. We had one stage we had over half of the whole population of Christchurch listening to us, and we just gave the people what they wanted, and it was new and it was exciting.
The introduction of Christchurch's first private radio station heralded a new era for the medium and began a massive shift away from the government-owned stations that had dominated the airwaves.
We were just doing stuff that no one had ever done before. There was all these regulations that we didn't have to stick to, didn't we?
We made it up as we went, but we knew what we were doing.
Radio Avon was known for its top 40 music, crazy promotions and local news, keeping its Canterbury audience engaged and entertained.
We had things like Key Mania. We would hide keys all round Christchurch, but then we'd forget sometimes we'd hidden the bloody thing. and there'd be people walking in the parks with shovels, looking for this, so the local council wasn't happy with us.
Around 40 former staff rekindled friendships and shared memories over the weekend as they remembered the legacy the station had left, finishing the one-off nostalgic occasion with a celebratory Saturday night dinner. In Christchurch, the South Today.
Yakane still to come on the South Today. A familiar face returns to the Highlanders after a 6-year stint in Japan, and an Otago University student with 2 international aerobics tournaments on the horizon.
be lower in the sky, but that doesn't lower the risk from skin cancer. Melanoma doesn't care about the season and will continue growing regardless. Don't let shorter days shorten your days. Book a full body mole map now.
Price squeeze! You'll be juiced on savings with up to 50% off and 24 months interest free. Price squeeze! John's Furniture Warehouse, Stafford Street.
And my mate John.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Here at Age Concern Otago, we offer a range of services to support Otago seniors to age well with dignity and independence. We provide social work support, visiting service, health promotion and social activities. Check out what we have on offer at ageconcernotago.com.
Aero, used by Australia's top bowlers with their unique Z-scoop grip that redefines the game. Machined with robotics for unparalleled accuracy, Aero, same line, every time.
Tēnā koe, welcome back. Rugby fans may recognise a familiar face returning to the Highlanders later this year after a 6-year hiatus in Japan. Rugby legend Jamie Joseph is set to make a comeback with the Southern Super Rugby franchise. He signed a new 4-year deal with the Highlanders. Joseph was head coach for the Highlanders between 2011 and 2017, leading the team to its one and only championship victory, before relocating to Japan to coach their national rugby team, the Brave Blossoms. Highlanders chairman Peter Keane is excited to have the former coach back on board, and Joseph says he's looking forward to returning to Dunedin. He'll take on the newly created Head of Rugby role for the Highlanders early next year. His job will include mentoring the coaching group, recruiting new players and leading the franchise over the next 4 Super Rugby seasons. An Otago University student is temporarily putting her books to one side as she focuses on her leaps, spins and splits. Brooke Davies is aiming to jump her way to the top, taking part in 2 international aerobics tournaments.
Putting her stretching to the test ahead of a big competition. Otago aerobic gymnast Brooke Davies is preparing to showcase her flexible skills in Europe as she represents New Zealand on the world stage. Davies is a third-year student at Otago University. She's already used to balancing her studies with rigorous training and is no stranger to international contests.
I have gone to compete overseas before. Most recently last year I went to the World Championships in Portugal.
Davies was named Otago Sportsperson of the Year in 2022 and has represented the region in aerobic gymnastics for the past 3 years. She's competed at 14 national aerobics championships, her top result last month winning her a spot at 2 European competitions.
I'm so excited. It's just such a great experience to get to go and meet new people, make new connections, and you learn so much when you go on these international tours, so it's super exciting and it's going to come around so fast.
She'll be competing at the Plovdiv Cup in Bulgaria in early October, followed by the Romgym World Cup in Romania, before returning home straight into university exam season. In Dunedin, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. A cold snap across the south this morning caused car crashes, road closures, school delays and airport disruptions. New traffic lights have been installed near Remarkables Park in Frankton, aimed at improving traffic flow and safety. And Radio Avon made a one-off return to Christchurch's airwaves, marking 50 years since the commercial station's launch. And now we'll look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, and we welcome Associate Editor Mike Houlihan. Hello Mike.
Evening, Hannah.
What can we expect in the Friday paper?
A couple of more in-depth looks at things you've already just mentioned on the bulletin there. We've had a long chat with Jamie Joseph over in Japan, who's fizzing about the chance to be coming back to coach the Highlanders in the upcoming season. We've also got extensive coverage of the snow drop this morning, which took a lot of people, including the Dunedin City Council, unfortunately, by surprise.
Right.
We've also got a yarn about transport priorities in the south. There's a push to make Queenstown the #1 public transport priority, which makes poor old Dunedin, sitting at #2, feel a little bit left out.
Oh, not again.
And we've also got the news that after a long campaign, it looks like a Ronald McDonald House may finally be built in Dunedin.
Oh, that's fantastic news. Well, thank you for sharing this evening, and we look forward to reading more tomorrow.
Thank you.
Time now for a look at the weather.
The South Today weather, proudly brought to you by MoleMap, the skin cancer detection specialists.
Looking at the situation, temperatures should be on the up slightly from tomorrow as airflow switches to the west ahead of fronts and troughs advancing from the south of the Tasman Sea. Heading to the top of the South Island, it's looking fine with light winds through here tomorrow. Nelson and Greymouth will get up to 13, with Christchurch just behind on 12 degrees. Travelling to South Canterbury and North Otago. 11 degrees across the board through here for Ashburton, Timaru and Awamiru, with a slight breeze in the air and clear skies. Heading westwards to the Central Lakes, expect some patchy cloud with light nor'westerlies and 10-degree highs for Queenstown and Wanaka tomorrow, while Alexandra is fine with 12 degrees and lots of sunshine. Heading further south, high cloud as we come down through here with 10-degree highs and nor'westerlies in Gore, Balclutha and the Catlins tomorrow. And across to Invercargill, fine and cold tonight with frosts again as it drops to 0. Tomorrow's another icy start with sunny skies and nor'westerlies with a high of 9. And Saturday brings cloudy skies with warmer temperatures with 11 as the high, but there may be a shower or two to watch out for. And finally, heading to Dunedin. Some cloud tonight and another frost as it drops to 0. Friday's a frosty one first up, but it will come right when the sun shows face. The northerlies pick up slightly and high cloud fills the sky on what will be a 10-degree day. Saturday comes with very similar conditions, although a warm day will be welcomed as we anticipate 13 degrees in the city. And that's the news this Thursday. For the latest news and videos from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. You can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand, and we're also on Facebook. Just search for the South Today NZ to see our favourite stories from around the regions. We'll see you again tomorrow. Ka kite o pōpō.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.